All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the How to Coach with Sportsbox webinar. We're going to wait a little bit to see how many participants come into the call. So we'll give it a minute here. Okay, so let's just start out because we have 30 minutes here. We could go over if you guys can want to stay on or need to stay on. But thank you for joining us. My name is Chris Ray. I'm the VP of Sales and Business Development for Sportsbox. Also on the call, we have our two sales reps, Ryan Trocchio and Nick Basilio. We have our Director of Client Relations, Aaron Heinz. And we have Edwin Fu, who's our Director of Sales. And Edwin will be going through a demo to show you how to coach with Sportsbox, how to, good uses with the app, and how to increase your lesson business using Sportsbox. We also have our European sales manager, Henrik Jentz, who's on the call listening in as well. So we're very excited about the current state of Sportsbox and where we're going in the future. We're currently the leader in the industry in single camera motion capture technology. We're used by coaches all over the world and also by tour players. And most recently, we got on board Bryson DeChambeau, which is very exciting for us. We worked very close with Bryson at the U.S. Open to really help him win the Open, and he gave us some good props during his press conferences, which obviously helped for brand exposure and just validation of the product. So excited about that. So because we're limited in time, I will hand it off to Edwin, but thank you guys again. And Edwin, take it away.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the call. I want to just introduce myself. I've been a PGA professional since 2008. So a lot of the experience I'm providing to you is from my own experience and also talking with many other coaches. A large portion of my career has been with club fitting, teaching, and using 3D technology. So today I'd like to show you just an example of the Sportsbox technology. Along the way, if you have any questions, please drop those into the chat. Our team here will relay those messages back to me, and we'll try to answer your questions as they come up. So one of the students that I want to show you here today is with an individual that has been working with me for about the past 5 to 6 months. He has really worked hard on his golf swing, but wasn't really sure how to improve certain portions of his body, how he was moving. So I want to show you a swing from back in October when we first started working together, and just kind of give you an idea of how to use this. Very simply, all you need to use is an iPhone, iPad, and certain Android devices. In this case, I actually recorded this swing with an iPhone, and it will generate from a 2D video into 3D data. So the numbers here at the bottom, I have mostly trackers and one indicator. These are the trackers and indicators that I feel like are used a lot and by many coaches. And I would encourage many of you all to constantly have these 5 or 6 up. There's certainly you can have more in different situations, but I believe these 5 or 6 would be very beneficial in helping your students improve. And those would be pelvis and chest turn, pelvis and chest sway, and sway gap. We've been using sway gap as a measurement in many of the past webinars, and I'd like to kind of dive into that one a little bit more today so that it can explain a little bit better what that means. If you want to show any other metrics, very simply, you can swipe up for more. And there are many different ones, such as turns, sways, side bend, lift, flex, chest bend, angles, linear speed, time, and kinematic sequence. Once you like what you have, you can edit those. It's very simply add those into the tile and then click save, and then those will be the tiles that you have at the bottom. I'll explain what a tracker is. A tracker is something that is being measured throughout the entire swing. I'm going to throw on a visual here so you can kind of watch that. So let's follow the sway gap tracker. We'll start at address here. At address, the sway gap is minus 1.4 inches. And what that means is the chest, or that blue line on the avatar, is 1.4 inches behind the pelvis. The pelvis is measured from the center of the chest and the center of the pelvis. As we move this swing through, you will see that this is being tracked frame by frame throughout the entire swing. I'll briefly stop here at the top. And you'll see here that the sway gap is now -1 inch. So that means the chest is 1 inch behind the pelvis. And then as we progress through to downswing club horizontal position here, and we'll stop here again, you'll see the sway gap is at -0.08 inches. And what that means is, while you're seeing the different colors, I'll quickly jump into that. You'll see that we have our PGA Tour ranges at each position. So specifically at this DCH, or downswing club horizontal position here, you can see that the number at the bottom, based on our ranges, is between -6.3 inches and -3.3 inches. While red does not always necessarily mean bad, it might be an indication for you to look at it and say, is that something that I believe is causing some issues? And to describe this player, his tendency is that he would get a little bit out, cause a little bit of a pull slice type of action, and he really wants to hit a push draw. So for him to do that, he really needs to improve this specific metric called sway gap. And we use different training tools, such as the downshift board, to really help with his transition, his weight transfer. And then I'll show you later on a coach, Lewis Sauer, that has recently used Sportsbox in his own instruction, how he used a Golf Forever training tool to really train those different body movements. So this is the number that we really want to focus on, this sway gap number. And if I go back out to the student's locker here, we took quite a few videos along the way to really try to enhance that positions by training the different body movements. You can see here, I'm not recording every single swing, but I'm recording pivotal moments after we've done those training aids. Specifically with him, we were using a downshift board to really help him feel like he was transferring his weight into his lead side while maintaining his chest back a little bit longer. So I'm going to go back to his original video, and I'm going to compare that to after we've done those specific training tools. So in the upper right corner, you can select the rectangle with a line through it, and this will allow you to do a 2D or 3D comparison. I'm going to show you both. So first, I'll show you the 2D comparison. And just a few days ago, we posted his swing on July 19th, and we're going to show these two videos side by side, just in regular 2D. If you click this unlink button, it'll allow you to unlink the videos, and then it'll allow you to move each video independently of each other. I'm going to first just move it to the top. So overall, the top position, not too dramatically different here. But what I want you to focus on is how well he transfers his weight into his lead side, starting with his pelvis, but maintaining that chest back a little bit farther. The video on the left was the before, so you're going to see that that chest begin to kind of dive down the same amount or more than his pelvis. So I'm going to take that to the downswing club horizontal position here. And now you can see positionally from a 2D video how different that looks. To a trained eye, like to most instructors, this is fairly easy to see. But for most, I think this can be very difficult, especially for the student. So while the coach can really see this, I really feel like what we're trying to help the student understand visually is how to quantify that and how to make data-driven decisions. And now I'm going to show you what that looks like 3D versus 3D, where I feel like this is a more powerful method of teaching your students. So I'm going to take both swings to the same downswing club horizontal position here. And the purple avatar on the left is his original swing when I first started working with him. And the green avatar on the right is the after. So I'm going to throw some visuals on here because I think these visuals are very powerful to use. Simply, you can see the blue line and the yellow line on the left are rather stacked on top of each other. Where the green avatar on the right, there is that separation. That's going to allow him to bring his arms down in a better position, create some room that allows him to make the swing from the inside and hit those push draws that he would like to see. I'll explain this a little bit more in the numbers. As you can see, the pelvis and chest turn are virtually identical. There really wasn't too much change there. The pelvis sway, virtually identical. What we wanted him to feel was maintaining that chest back a little bit farther. So the video or the number on the left, which corresponds to the avatar on the left, his chest sway is at 3.9 inches. which is a pretty excessive amount. The after is only at 1.1 inches. That's what allowed him to create that sway gap. And we did that by using a training aid that allowed him to feel that in his repetition and during the lesson. So that's exactly kind of what we wanted to work on. And we did that throughout the course of the lesson. I'll go back out to the student locker, and you can see we started with an iron and we were working on those specifically. I'll show you another video, his very first iron swing, because he didn't change a whole lot on his first iron swing, but I'll show you how that compares to the last iron swing that we captured. So same thing here. I'm going to show you the vertical lines. And then I'm going to take his swing to that downswing club horizontal position here. And you can see that that sway gap is relatively small. On an iron, it's going to be smaller than a driver. But in this situation, again, you can see his chest sway and his pelvis sway are virtually identical. They're right on top of each other. There's no separation between the chest and the pelvis. And then I'm going to show you, after about 30 minutes of doing that drill, what that looks like in 3D. So over here, I have his iron swing. I'm going to move both to that same downswing club horizontal position here. And you can see that his sway gap improved tremendously. We also like to show kind of what the tour player is doing, and I'd love to show how this looks comparatively to a tour player. Very simply, it's just using a 120 frames per second video. You can import any tour player or any player at all that you'd like to reference. And I'm going to use the most recent Open champion, Xander, to kind of show you how different or how much his sway gap is comparatively. So let's move both swings back to that same downswing club horizontal position here. And you can see Xander has an incredible amount of sway gap. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like with the 3D data as well. So now we have that here. You can see that the sway gap player on the left at minus 0.8 inches and Xander on the right at negative 8.3. Again, red doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means it's outside of the range. And the range is based on our PGA Tour database for men and LPGA database for women. If I click the sway gap number here, you can reference those because this is our driver database, and you can see it, the downswing club horizontal position here. For Xander at 8.3 is outside of that range. It's just more than the average PGA Tour player. We reinforced this with a really neat tool called Monitor Mode. And we had a recent integration with Foresight. And I want to show you how we were able to train this after we've done the lesson. So the next day, I spent another 30 minutes with this student. And now you can see that we have the Foresight data integrated within our Sportsbox application here. So you can see we have backspin, we have carry, ball speed, launch angle, and then sway gap is the one that we really wanted to focus on. And you can see here now, based on what his best sway gap number is, we can actually relate that back to what type of ball flight that was given to him. And if you simply click on this, you can actually see what that swing looks like in 3D as well, relative to the Foresight launch monitor. In this case, we're using a GC3, and we can monitor this one. Sway gap was in the range that we really like. It was very close. And if you see the 2D video and also the 3D avatar here, you're able to see that that sway gap is in a very good spot specifically for an iron. And this is a great way to train for your students while they're with you in person, or if they are working on their own and they have their own foresight. This is an excellent way for them to monitor the progress, not only with their body, but also with the club and the golf ball itself. If I go into one of these here, it'll actually tell you how well he's able to hit those specific ranges. And as a coach, this is a great way for you to set a goal. And the last thing I like to show you here before I open it up to more questions is let's go ahead and together set a goal. And how to set a goal, it's the bullseye icon in the top right corner. In this case, I've already set some goals for him. I wanted him to focus on the pelvis sway, the chest sway, and the sway gap numbers. I'm using the DCH, or the downswing club horizontal position, as the point that I really want him to focus on. You can also create a new goal. So if I wanted to create a new goal around something else, I'm just going to use the same goal just so that you guys can see how this looks. I'm going to create a custom goal. I'm going to just use one just so you can see it, but you can select up to 3. I'm going to change the sway gap goal to impact. And you may have all various ranges of players, various handicaps. So this is where an opportunity for you to for the player not to always see red. You can simply adjust those goals. So for him, it might be very difficult for him to create 5.6 sway gap. So this is something where you can adjust accordingly. You can adjust that down a little bit. Let's make that 4.6 and maybe make this one 1.6. And now when he practices, he will be able to achieve the goal. And then as the player begins to improve and achieve those goals, you can adjust those goals accordingly for the student. And I think that's a very powerful way to, one, engage your students, and two, really allow them to practice without always getting a negative connotation of red. Again, I know we're trying to tell you all red doesn't mean bad, but it is an indication of maybe it's more than the PGA or LPGA average. Once you like the settings that you have here, simply click next. You can name it whatever you like, sway gap to impact, and then create and assign that goal. And this will be the new goal for the student. And we can set that now as his active goal. And now this is where he's at. This one was a very good swing of his. So he actually was at above that range. And it definitely took several lessons for him to really achieve this appropriately. That's a majority of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions and provide more feedback. If there are any questions you have, please drop them into the chat and we'll answer them accordingly for you.
Real quick, can you just show on the app the 3D kind of the visuals of the different views we have with our avatar?
Absolutely. So in the upper right corner, it looks like it's two squares on top of each other. If you click that, this will allow you to put all kinds of visuals. You can throw in hand path, shoulders and hip lines. You can also throw in lead wrist angle, plane lines, vertical plane lines. We have a lot of really cool visuals. So I'll throw them all in so you can see them. You can rotate this avatar and look at it from all different viewing angles. You can also click on the view and look at it from the different viewpoints. So we can go from above, for example, and then let's take a swing to the top. And this is a great visual to show rotation. The face-on view has been excellent, or the behind view is an excellent way to show those vertical lines. So you can show that from face-on, or you can show that from behind to show that a little bit better.
Awesome. We do have one question that came through so far, and when you had kind of touched on it, but the gentleman here is asking about our integration with Foresight and working with GC Quad. Can you just explain how that works on our app?
Yeah, great question. So very simply, let me just jump out to a video here. And then I'd love to show you Lewis Sauer's drill that he shared with me, which is excellent as well. I'd love to share that as well. But before I do that, let me kind of show you what that Foresight integration looks like. So first, all right, so I'll play this through. So first you would connect using Wi-Fi to the GC unit. So that's the GC quad there. Then you would connect it. And then you can see here under create sessions, there's a monitor mode. You can select monitor mode, select the player, select the club. And then your Foresight device is now connected. This will access your face-on camera or the back camera, but ideally, if you're practicing on your own, you're using the face-on camera. Once you make a swing, it'll analyze the swing, and then you can adjust the tiles to whatever you like. Here, you can add in any of the Foresight data and any of the ball data, Foresight data and the body data. Once you select the tiles that you like, you can select up to 6. There's going to be 2 screens. One screen will have 3 on them. The other screen will have another 3. In this case, we're using sway, ball speed, and launch angle. And then you can see as Jihei is going through practicing on this, that one of the things she's working on is her pelvis sway to impact. And how does that change the ball speed and launch angle specifically for her practice? An excellent drill that I mentioned earlier, but I'd love to kind of show you here is I believe training tools are a wonderful way to really enhance or get your point of how to feel something. In this case, you can see if the chest is diving and leaning towards the lead side, it's way out in front, which can pitch your trail elbow into a position that causes you to get a little bit out to in. And you can see Lewis using a Golf Forever training tool to really initiate with the pelvis while maintaining the chest a little bit further back. And he's using that Golf Forever device with a resistance band to really encourage that feeling. Lewis has some excellent contact. I put his Instagram handle at the bottom. If you'd love to kind of look at his content, he's producing a lot of wonderful content. Love sharing. Anybody that's using Sportsbox, if you tag us, we love sharing content from other coaches. We'd love to promote you all. And this is an excellent drill that Lewis sent me today. And I really wanted to show that because it pertained a lot to the coaching that I wanted to share with you all today.
Thank you, Edwin. We have some more questions, and I'll just sort it out to the sales team here. You guys can take it as you wish here. First one is, for what levels of student is this ideal for? I have a good few beginners and high handicappers and mid handicappers, but not enough 12 handicap and below yet. Is this appealing for low handicappers as well only? Thank you. Dick, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can take this one, and we get that question a lot, actually. And what's really cool, I think, for the various levels of golfers, you can really dive into super specific things for that elite level golfer, but also it can help you focus on 1 or 2 things for that beginner golfer. Where hey, we got 100 different problems we can solve. Let's focus on one specific problem. I had a coach who was using Sportsbox with an elderly lady, and she would get 7 inches of head sway away from the golf ball at the top of her swing. And basically what he did was like, hey, I don't want you to worry about any other thing in your golf swing. Let's just make this 7 into a 2 at the top of the golf swing. And by, using Sportsbox to kind of show, hey, here's what 5 inches of change will feel like. It really helped her hit, better golf shots without getting too deep into the data and kind of being overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, I'll piggyback that as well. I think this is used for all levels of golfers. This is a young man, one of my friend's sons, that is, wanting to really begin to start to compete in golf. Just started picking up golf recently, and you don't have to get too detailed. You can really show them a lot of cool things. You can show them a lot of really neat things that they're, all levels of golfers, from junior players to, senior players and everybody in between. This can be used for everyone. You do not need to get into very detailed stuff. Sometimes you can just show really cool stuff like, look how well this young man really, turns to the top. Yes, we're going to work on a few things in terms of helping him get his lead side, or getting his chest to turn, to move a little bit better to his trail side. But in general speaking, this can be really used for all, definitely used for all levels of golfers. That's part of the reason why we wanted to have this call, is that we commonly always just showed the tour players and how it's used for the elite of the elite. But this is 100% being used on all levels of golfers, from juniors to senior players to avid golfers that are trying to lower their handicap. I think this is a wonderful way to really provide not only a great visual, but really back your decision on how to make changes in the golf swing with quantifiable measurements.
All right, thank you, Edwin and Nick. So the next question is the data on the back end, is it available, or just the metrics that the app shows? Edwin, I'll let you take that one.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Is the data, the back-end data available, or just the metrics the app shows?
What do you mean by back-end data? I'm not following.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about is all the metrics that go into, how the AI works. We just have the available data that is shown through the app itself. There's a lot more things that go into it in the back end, that is not available, but we just have the data that is available on the app, which is plenty for us to see. So the next one is how to add a swing model. For example of Xander. Can you go through
So
how
just to
to add
jump in
that
there
swing
quick.
model, Edwin? All
So
right.
my
Nick,
assumption on that last question was whether or not you could export the data on the back end for research purposes. That's how I read that question.
Not yet. That's not something that we have. We're talking about exporting data. We're not exporting the data yet. We are making some future product changes, not changes, product enhancements, where we'll be able to provide a list, so to speak, and be able to filter according to like 7-iron or good swings versus bad swings. We're going to be able to do a lot of internal things within the app that allow you to filter it accordingly. So for example, if I hit a bunch of shots left to right, but I want to see what the differences were by how I was changing it to make my ball flight change from right to left, those we're going to eventually add in a way to filter that out accordingly. And that's exactly something that we did with Bryson. That was all done within the app. And we are working on future product updates to allow you to filter this better and be able to categorize these swings accordingly. Chris, what was the next question
for you is, how do you add like a swing model to the app like you did with the Xander?
Yeah, great question. So very simply, you create a student, and then I'm going to just show you there's an import function here. And then you can import a video. And then you can select the video here. I have Wyndham Clark, for example. Or actually, I'll just import Xander again. So I'll click Xander here. And you want to make sure the video is trimmed appropriately. So it's just the swing itself, no waggling or anything at the end. So I'm going to trim this back into this video real quick. You'll click next. You'll select the student that you have in place. I already created a Xander Schauffele student. This is a driver, so I'm going to select driver. And since this is a face-on video, you'll select face-on. You want to make sure that the video, it will automatically detect it, but if it doesn't detect it correctly, you want to make sure that it's 120 frames per second. And then you'll click analyze. And then it will import the Xander Schauffele swing that you have, or any tour player or any reference model that you'd like. Once it's imported like this, to make it a reference that you can reference later on, is simply go to the students folder here, and we'll bookmark that swing. And the bookmark icon is right next to the video. So if you bookmark that, now this becomes a reference that you can use as a reference model for all future lessons.
Right. So Tina, looks like it's 2:30 or 2:30 my time. That's the 30 minutes that we had, but we're willing to stay on to answer more questions if you guys are as well. So if you need to drop off, obviously do. We'll be sending a recording of this webinar to everyone after the call, along with details on our promotional offerings for being on the call and how to sign up for Sportsbox. But we'll continue answering the questions for now. It says next one is any plans for Swing Catalyst and or Mevo Plus integration? I'll take that one. So right now we've integrated with Golf Genius and with Foresight, and to not get too specific, we do have plans for more integration. So more to come on that. But yeah, we're excited to integrate with more companies out there that will just make us even more prevalent in the space. Next question is, do you have some drills when the sway gap is too big because the chest still too much behind the ball?
Yeah, for sure. I really like the downshift board. I believe that's a great way to train that. I'm going to use another student here that has too much sway gap, and tendency is hangs back a lot, chest hangs back a lot. So I'm going to throw a visual on here. And this was his before swing, and I'll show the sway gap here. So for example, if I take his swing to downswing club horizontal position or even impact position here, definitely a very significant amount of sway gap, almost 9 inches here. I like to use the weight shift board or a downshift board to really train that. In this instance, I would want him to feel like for him to transition into his lead side, he needs to feel a little bit more of his chest kind of getting over towards his lead side as opposed to all being on the trail side. And in this instance, when he was trying to get into his lead side, he was completely having trouble doing that. And the downshift board or weight shift board, something of those sorts, would really be very beneficial in training that movement properly. So I'll compare his swing kind of before and after. Let me see if I have it here. Let me add it in. Let me show you his after here. So this will be his after swing. Let me refresh that. And let's do a comparison again in 3D. And so his swing's over here. And let's move both swings back to that downswing club horizontal position or even impact. And you can look at a sway gap now. So this was after training on that downshift board. I think that's a phenomenal tool to really train or encourage that proper weight transfer where it's not all hang back. I highly encourage that. I think it's a phenomenal tool. There's fantastic tools out there. That Golf Forever drill that Lewis sent out as well is a great feel with the resistant band. I think anything like that will be a wonderful type of training aid that will encourage the proper movement. And that's exactly what we did here. There's so many different methods, but those are the two that I feel like would be very good. And you can see we reduced that sway gap by 2 inches there. Sorry, 3 inches. 2 inches. Sorry, 2 inches. Not mathing.
Okay, thank you, Edwin. The next one is sometimes I have no choice to video into bright sunlight and I get too many misses or weird club action. So any suggestions when you have that situation?
Yeah, great question. So we built in an auto exposure in here. So, but I would encourage you if you're recording into really bright light or if you're in really dark lighting, we have that already built in. But if it's not good enough, then you can go into the manual capture here, and there's a little sun icon in the bottom left corner. I have my hand covering the camera, but you can then click that turn on anyways, and that will allow you to adjust the exposure darker or brighter accordingly. So that'll be a great way to adjust that so that you get the best possible captures.
Doesn't look like there's any more questions. Edwin, if you could just touch on for the last thing, how golfers interact with coaches using our app, and kind of good ways for coaches to monetize that relationship and help increase their lesson business and their connection with their students.
Yeah, great question. I'll touch on a couple things real quick. So I think the home feed page is perfectly designed for that communication. First, I think communicating to your students is going to be incredibly important. I would highly encourage using this home feed page where you can simply like posts, you can comment on them, and then I believe that will encourage your students to practice along with setting goals. That'll encourage your student to practice not only within the app, but more so just with you in general. Notification tab here. Anytime your students are reaching out, asking questions, posting swings, all this goes to the notification tab here. And that's a great way for you to, as simple as just saying, thank you for the help last weekend, stuff like that, which really creates that sticky environment, which we want those students to not only be encouraged to work on things, but also to work on it. Use the app itself to measure, to practice. And I believe that will create that environment where the coach and student interaction is more prevalent. We also have a way for coaches to purchase those student credits, and those can be assigned to the player. And as you can see, I've done some of that in my own coaching. So many of these students can stay on the free. Under most of these students, they say free. But some of these students that have been working with me that want to work more on the app, I can purchase those credits as a coach. I can then build those into my lesson fees. And then you can upgrade them from a regular free student into a 3D player, which allows them to use the app and record unlimited number of swings in the app. Therefore, those swings come directly to you, and then you as a coach can comment on those and encourage those students to come back to you when they're not able to achieve something that needs to be worked on. If y'all would like to learn more about how that student credit works, myself, Nick Vasilio, and Ryan Trocchio, we are all here to help. You can set up a call with us by selecting the product demo, and we can run you through that on how this can be a great way for you to monetize this within your business, and how to encourage those members to practice with you utilizing Sportsbox.
Right, thank you. Actually, one more question came in. It says it would be good to send a broadcast out to all of your pupils with a single post. And I know we've brought that up in the past, Edwin, so just kind of give a update on that.
You meaning that you want to send everything out to your students, like some type of information? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it sounds like that. Yep.
Well, so we have a web portal, which I would encourage everybody here to use. If you click on the students tab here, this is just a demo web portal here, but we'll have a list of all your students. It will have their email addresses and all that good stuff in there. Apologize, it's not refreshing here, but there will be a list of students in here. This is also where you can assign your students credits. You can see how many sessions they're recording. This is a great way for you to kind of look at your students from an admin perspective. It also has all of their email addresses in here. We are working on a way to be able to send out mass communication to your students using this web portal. That's something that's going to be something in the future. We also want to eventually build that into the app. But for now, the web portal is a great resource for you to check on your students, add student credits. This demo account has 25 credits. And this is a way where you can assign those credits very easily, or be able to send out information and messages to your students using email.
Awesome. Thank you, Edmund. Okay, doesn't look like seconds. Okay, we have one more question here. Thanks for a great webinar. Is the speed profile feature available yet? If not, when will it be available?
That's a great question. Currently, the speed profile is only currently available on either the free student app or the paid student, the 3D player paid version. The reason why we started there is we wanted to encourage those students to, one, realize, are they leaving speed on the table? Are they able to maximize their potential and to gain more speed? From that, we believe the students will reach out to coaches if they see that they can increase their club head speed by 3, 4, 5, 6 miles an hour. And it was a great way for us also to test it, because there's more students using the app. And therefore, we want those students coming back to the coach to work on those things. The answer, long-term answer, is yes. We will be including that speed report in a more robust coaching version. And you probably have seen it commonly used in a lot of our education webinars with Dr. Phil Cheatham and other various guests. And we eventually will be adding that speed report into the coach version after we have been able to really kind of cater it and implement it more towards the coach.
Okay, thank you, Edwin. Okay, no more questions. So I'll just wrap this up, guys. We're going to offer a special promo for those of you that attended the webinar today. So normally our subscription on a monthly basis for coaches is $80 per month. We're going to offer you a $20 for the first month promo, which would include level 1 certification with that subscription. And level 1 certification gives you 3 PDR credits as well, which is very valuable. If you want to go the annual subscription routes, we can do like a 10% off retail discount of $720. And also that includes the level 1 certification and the 3 PDR credits. Soon after this call, we'll send out emails to everyone on the call here with details about, well, with the recording of the webinar, also details about how to sign up, how to get in touch with us. For your European coaches, we'll include Henrik's information as well. You can reach out to him. So thank you everyone for joining. I hope you got some good value out of this, and look out for more webinars that we'll be posting, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.